Good morning and welcome to another episode of Grassroots Vegan. I'm David Kelly. So just like the apes and the monkeys, we as humans are physiologically designed to eat fruit. We are frugivores. And this is further proven by the fact that fruit is the most easiest food for us to digest. So it makes me ask the question, what happened to us as humans that brought us to where we are today, where we're predominantly heavy meat eaters? And, I think about there was a time where, the early humans were living, I would say, in a tropical climate with an abundance of fruits and vegetables. And so I asked myself, why did they ever leave that environment where they had everything they needed and they had the food available that they were designed to eat? Now, there's a few possibilities as to why that happened. One could have been climate change. Another could have been overpopulation. Maybe they depleted the abundance of fruits and vegetables and were forced to move outward. But I think that the reason why humans left this tropical paradise, so to speak, was because of their curiosity. Because of, unlike the apes and the monkeys, they had a curiosity that made them look outward and ask the question, what is out there? They had a need to know what they did not know. And that need was so powerful, it overrided everything else in their lives. So they left their tropical paradise and moved outward into the world, into the unknown. And as a result of that, they had to adapt to new environments. And those environments, in many cases, were harsh and resources were scarce. And so they were out of necessity required to adapt new ways of eating. And eating animal foods was a way of surviving in those harsher environments. And then, of course, you go further along, man's journey outward, and then you reach the point where man learns how to exploit the grasses, the grains, to make them so that they can eat the grains. And we have what is the early stages of civilization. Now, I'm really just oversimplifying here. I'm fully aware of that. I'm just more or less trying to capture the story of our human journey in this world and how we got here today. So we changed as we moved outward to the edges of the earth. We adapted accordingly so that we could survive. And although the new foods that we were introducing into our lives were not necessarily optimal health-wise, they enabled us to establish civilizations and to expand and to create new technologies as well, to the point of where we are today. And so there was I'm kind of glad in one way that as humans, we did not stay in that tropical paradise, but we moved out from that. And from that, we evolved. And now we have all this wonderful technology that we have today, although some people would challenge that assumption that it's not as wonderful as, some of us make it out to be. But I just think of how people lived even 100 years ago. And you don't want to go back to that, okay? I mean, what the developments that we have made, and just even in the last 100 years, have been truly remarkable. Even in the last 50 years, even in the last 20, even in the last 10 years, we just keep on moving forward. The fact that I'm able to talk to you right now over the internet, I mean, there was a time I would never have imagined that this would even be possible. So in in one sense, the technology is improving our lives. There's no question about it. But what has not changed is the fact that we're still eating the foods that we ate when we had to adapt under harsher and more extreme environments. In fact, it's the opposite. The wealthy, more affluent civilizations are going to the extreme when it comes to eating animal products. And I think we've reached the limit. We cannot continue. This is unsustainable. And this is where now, I believe, through our technology, we now have the ability to go back to the garden, to the paradise that we once lived in, that tropical paradise. Now, I don't mean literally move back to a tropical climate, although that would be nice, and some people have opted to do that. But realistically, if everybody changed their diets and started eating the way that they're naturally meant to eat and wanted to move to a warmer climate to do that, that would be unsustainable as well. We have over 7 billion people in the world, so we have to deal with what we have. We have dominated the world, and now it is time to look at how we're going to sustain that dominance. So I'm saying now it is time for humans to make a change back to the way that they were originally meant to eat, and that is fruits, predominantly fruits and vegetables. And we need to transform our agricultural system, we need to transform our economy, we need to transform how we produce food and the foods that we should be predominantly eating. And this is not going to happen overnight, there's no question about it. But it must happen. It has to happen, because this overconsumption of eating animal products has become obscene. It's a gross indulgence. It's not even necessary anymore. It's not about survival anymore. It's just about gluttony, overeating foods that we don't need and that are harming us, that are making us sick, and that are ultimately shortening our lives. Not to mention how taxing it is on our healthcare system. Our healthcare system is falling apart. I don't know about the United States, but I could tell you in Canada, our healthcare system's a mess. I was talking to a healthcare worker about 6 months ago, and she was telling me that it's not going to last the way it is. It's going to fall apart. We can't sustain it. There's too many people entering into retirement with a lot of ailments, and they're going to need medical attention, and it's going to overwhelm the system. The system is already overwhelmed. But there's a solution to that, and that is when each of us take responsibility for our health, for our fitness, for our well-being. And it begins by returning back to what we are meant to eat, what we are physiologically designed for, and that is fruits and vegetables. And so, okay, I don't expect to change the world individually, but if each one of us makes that change, that begins to add up, and it gets larger and larger and larger, and it's like compounded interest. And before you know it, you have a change on a larger scale that is significant and that will have an impact on every level of human existence. So it begins with me. It begins with you. I mean, come on. You know the gig is up. You know that the years of eating the standard American diet of predominantly animal products and processed foods has made you ill, has made you overweight, has made you lethargic, and you know it doesn't get better from here. So what are you waiting for? Not only you as an individual need to do this, but you need to do it for your planet as well. This change must come about. And it will come about. It has to. So, I guess I'm kind of talking from a soapbox here, but I'm passionate about this. I really do believe that just by changing your diet, we can change a lot of other things that are not right with the planet right now, the damage that we have done socially, environmentally, ethically, when it comes to our treatment of livestock and animals, all of those things. Just by making a change in how you eat, you become an active contributor to improving your planet. So we've come a long way as humans, and we survived a lot. And we can get through our challenges today. But I believe, again, and I don't want to keep on repeating myself like a broken record, it begins with what you're eating. Get back to what's natural for you. Become a frugivore. Take care and eat your fruit.